Hey, what's going on, everybody? Blue Line Blast podcast here for you up here on YouTube. Thanks for everybody for checking out our videos. Jim Berenger, Matthew Blittner. The NHL Trade Deadline is here. Lots of activity here in the afternoon hours and some activity beforehand as well. Breaking it all down for you right here. Matthew, what's going on, buddy?
Great to
Great.
be here, Jim. And I mean, it's the busiest day out of the year outside maybe July 1st for free agent signings. And, as we're coming on the air, the news is breaking that the Islanders have agreed to a trade with the St. Louis Blues for St. Louis's Braden Shen, who has officially waived his no trade clause to come to the Islanders. He has 2 years left on his deal. And Darren Drager reporting that the return is a first, a third, and a prospect for Shen. So, Jim, things picked up as you get closer to 3 o'clock. Deadlines inspire action. And it looks like Matthew Dosh is not content to sit back this season. He's going out and trying to make the Islanders as best as they can possibly be.
Yeah, off a couple of losses, and I think they got to get some depth down the middle, need some help. They've always been looking for that center. I mean, that was the price tag for Braden Shen last year, too, like a first-round pick, prospect, and plus, and 3 assets for the Blues. Matthew Josh, we know he's come from Tampa, right? Like, they're aggressive at the deadline, and this team needed some help. And I like the addition of Shen, playoff experience, good character guy. Young team still in with the Islanders. I know the Islanders have playoff experience, but it's been a while for those guys. And it's a younger-ish team, especially on that back end. Calm some waters down, bring a veteran guy like that into the room. I like this move for the Islanders. Again, I've always been high on the Islanders this year. I know there's some right now on Twitter not happy with the deal. Think it was, Matthew Darsh hasn't done a good job. But again, everybody has the right to their opinion. But I like this. I like this move for the New York Islanders.
Absolutely. And, Shen does bring, as you said, the playoff experience. He brings that hard nose, that bit of fortitude that a team like the Islanders can rely on. I mean, when you look at it over the last 15 years, roughly, what has been the Islanders' identity, hard playing, the energy line, that fourth line, Shen really fits into that mold of what the Islanders are looking to have. And, you mentioned Matthew Dosh coming from Tampa. Well, Tampa has gone out, and I mean, it's not as flashy a move, but Tampa has had a reunion, so to speak, with Corey Perry, who they gave the Kings a second round pick. The Kings, I believe it's 50% retained salary on Corey Perry's deal. Jim, Corey Perry won the cup in 2007 with Anaheim. He's been back how many times since, but he hasn't managed to win it. I think it's safe to say Tampa's going back to the cup this year. They're probably not going to win, but they're going back to the cup this year.
Yeah, what was it? There was a couple of years stretch where he went like 3 straight years to the Stanley Cup final. Dallas, Montreal, Tampa. Like, it was ridiculous what he was doing. So yeah, I think Edmonton he went to the cup final with 2 straight years. So I mean, yeah, this guy has been on the ever since he's won the cup in 2007, like you said, he's trying to get back to his glory days, win another Stanley Cup. And again, I like this move. I think that Tampa's been looking for some depth. Just get maybe calm some waters there too. They have not played well coming out of the break whatsoever. That's not the Tampa team I expected to see coming out of the break. But again, a lot of guys tired. Some guys shouldn't be tired, but some guys didn't go play in the Olympics. Again, Victor Hedman, banged up a little bit. That doesn't help. But I'm still wondering, even though there's about like 25-ish minutes to the official deadline, we know things trickle in after the deadline. I'm curious to see what those late second phone calls are going to be, because there's still feels like there's still something else to come. Because yeah, we've got the the David Juracek and the Bobby Brink deal, and we've had some minor deals along the way, but it feels like there's something else is brewing here.
All right. Well, Jim, from everyone who we've spoken to, everyone who's been reporting on this over the last several days, because let's be honest, the trade deadline is not one day; it's like a whole week party.
If not longer.
Right. And so, people at the Athletic, people on TSN, insiders throughout, they were reporting throughout the week that due to the new CBA rules, with no more double retention within 75 days of a move, and no more being able to get a buy without having a salary cap in the playoffs, it was holding up the trade market a bit because GMs were being weary because now they've got to worry about the cap in the playoffs. They can't have that typical brokerage thing of, oh, well, we're going to trade a guy and he's going to get traded a second time, so we don't have to worry about cap hit. Well, that's not happening anymore. But then again, I spoke with Kevin Weeks just the other day at Prudential Center, and Weeks said, from everyone he's talking to, he fully expects there to be, maybe not blockbusters, but he expects there to be, moves made. And I mean, I guess there are moves being made, just maybe not the impact moves that some people maybe were hoping for, that fans out there are looking for. Although, late last night, I'd say the biggest move of the deadline so far, the Capitals parted with longtime defenseman, number one defenseman in franchise history by most metrics, John Tolson. He went to Anaheim, and Jim, I mean, that caught a lot of people by surprise. And the return with a conditional first-round pick in 2026 and a third-round pick in 2027. Tolson going to Anaheim signals the Ducks are going in for it this year. And the Capitals, I mean, if there was ever a white flag moment, that was it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I didn't expect to see John Carlson. I know he's UFA, but all indications were that he was going to stay with the Washington Capitals. I know they had some tough contract negotiations they were going to table until after the season. But still, I mean, you got to be able to you got to be able to, you got to be able to make some things happen, and they did. And that's the thing. Like, Washington had to move players out. They had to move some money out. But again, Washington, it's in that transitional phase. Like Ovi's last year, do they want to get younger? Do they want to just keep this retail going? Again, I wasn't sure like this was going to actually happen. I know, they tried to get a deal done with Carlson, but again, when Anaheim steps up with a conditional first round pick, you got to listen to it. And here they are. They moved him to Anaheim. I like the fit for him. But that shockwave in that room right now. Tom Wilson not happy. Ovechkin not happy. Guys that he's 17 years with that franchise. Like, I think that's something that you gotta. I think and he didn't know about till the morning. Like, that's tough.
Well, he fell asleep. They did call him. They did try to call and text him, and I mean, he must be a sound sleeper, or either that, or he just really had no idea that there was even any potential of getting moved. Because, I know that you, me, every other media person, we could be deep sound sleepers, but phones going off during trade deadline on season, you're waking up. So he was just conked out. He was out cold, which I guess, happens. It's not the ideal way to find out, but this is the world we live in. And, you mentioned about, wanting to get things done. Well, two teams that we're very familiar with who have not gotten things done are the Rangers and the Devils. Yeah. And I guess, Jim, we can start with the Rangers. Yes, they trade Sam Carrick to Buffalo for a third and a sixth. But as you mentioned just a couple of days ago on the podcast, they sent out the letter. They sent out that they were going to be moving people. Some fan favorites were going to go. Yes, Artemi Panarin's been moved. Carson Soucy's been moved. And now Sam Carrick's been moved. But it's looking more and more likely that they're going to hold on to Vincent Trocheck, and his value is only going to go down from here.
Yeah, this is the time to move Vinny Trocheck, right? Like, and the worst part is the Rangers did this to themselves. Yeah, you can hold on to him, but what does that do to you? You sent out a letter saying fan favorites. You're going to have to say goodbye to fan favorites. Like, unless Detroit, Montreal, Boston, somebody steps up, makes an offer, Carolina, like, it appears he's going to stay. But again, you can't be doing that, and you can't be sending out the letter saying, oh, we're going to make moves and tell everyone what we're doing, and not move the guy with the highest trade value. Now, I'll say this. Good on Chris Drury for not moving off his price. But the problem is the reason the price is so high is because every other trade he's made has been underwhelming in that return.
Yeah, absolutely underwhelming and things. And he does have to nail the Trocheck trade, which is why he's in a no-win situation here.
Yeah.
One of two things is going to happen. He either trades him, and by all intents and purposes, unless someone steps up in the next 19 or so minutes and steps up with a big deal, he either gets an underwhelming return, which would just continue the trend, which is no good, or he holds on to him and tries to trade him at the draft or during the summer after free agency, in which case his value is lower than it is now. And so either way, the price is going to come down and he's going to screw it up either way. Ideally, he needed to keep his mouth shut, keep his pen away from his paper, and you want to make moves and things go ahead. Rangers are sitting in last place in the Eastern Conference. Really, people are going to question that you're making moves? Like, no one's going to say, oh, well, there was no letter, so how come there's moves being made? No one would have been like, oh, well, there was no letter. How dare you make a move like that?
Let me ask those same people the same question. Vancouver Canucks, dead last, didn't say anything. Everybody knew guys were available. Same with the St. Louis Blues. But they've been doing the same circus and same dance for the last couple of years now. But everybody knew those guys were available for the right prices. And again, the underwhelming returns. Like, why would I go back to the summer? And I know we've had our Rangers guys on here, the podcast throughout this. Why was Chris Drury allowed to be able to be the one to fix this mess that he created? Like, that's the biggest question to me, because now you've done it. At least in the Jeff Gordon letter era, they moved everybody out. Everybody was gone.
Pretty quickly, too.
Pretty quickly. So, is this saying guys don't want to come to New York now? Is it saying guys don't want to play? Is the word traveling that no one wants to play for Chris Drury? Like, this is a problem.
There is a perception problem, although, as many people have pointed out, going back to last season and when the Rangers started, insulting or, their players with the memo and everything that Drury sent out to the other general managers. It's still New York. People still want to come to play in New York. People don't really seem to think that that's too much of an issue. Yes, word can get around that Drury mistreats the players, but then you have guys like Chris Kreider who are out there saying, hey, yeah, look, Drury did right by me in moving me to Anaheim. And Panarin hasn't really gone one way or another or in his comments, but it fights against that. Well, there's a perception problem of coming to New York. And, Drury, he's made his bed, and now he's got to lie in it, because it's the same thing that Dolan did with Isaiah Thomas with the Knicks. There was no reason Isaiah Thomas should have been given the ability to continually try to fix the mess he made.
No.
It wasn't until Dolan finally got rid of Thomas that the Knicks started to come, to rebound, and now they're one of the best teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
Well, Rangers, I guess, Dolan hasn't reached that point with Drury yet. But, Jim, there's another fan base that we know about that's not very happy right now, and that's the New Jersey Devils. I mean, there are reports out there that a lot of the defensemen on the trade block, with the exceptions of basically Luke Hughes and Brett Pesce, I'd have to imagine Pesce at least partially because he's injured right now. So, you're not going to get much for him anyway right now. Simon Nemec did, in fact, change agents. He needs a new contract, something that
interesting timing, wouldn't you say?
What was that?
I said interesting timing, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, oh, yeah, very interesting timing. The thing is, it doesn't seem like the Devils are getting the offers that they want for Simon Nemec, and they want to make a hockey trade. They don't want to give him away. They want to get someone, preferably, a top-line center, top-line winger, someone of that ilk. And, the offers are not there. Supposedly Nemec's camp wants, in their new contract, something similar to what Luke Hughes got. Jim, not that Luke Hughes necessarily deserved the contract that he got, but you can at least see the offensive potential there. And yes, Nemec has had some overtime winners. Nemec is not the same type of player as a Luke Hughes. He doesn't have game-breaking talent. Yeah, he went number 2 overall. Yes, he's very talented. He doesn't have game-breaking talent. He's not going to get an 8-year or 7-8 year deal at, $9 million. It's just not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen, right? Like $7-8 million. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen whatsoever. I think, to be honest, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't like it, the deal for what he's asking for. Like, let's be honest here. I think this is the issue too. Jackson Lacombe got $9 million. Luke Hughes got $9 million. Lane Hudson took less. But Nemec, I think it all goes back to when Tom Fitzgerald talked about the contract. He was like, yeah, he needs a contract, something I don't need to be working on right now. It's like, okay, but you were all hyped about Arseniy Grishu. Oh, got to get it done. Got to get it done. Like Nemec, the way Nemec has come into this organization, the way he's been treated, I just feel like I think a change of scenery for both would probably be a good thing.
Yeah, no, and you hit it right there on the head. Nemec is not, and I don't know why, because I mean, you would figure that any organization would want to respect and treat well their number 2 overall pick, and not to say that they didn't
Mistreated him.
not to say that they didn't respect him, but there were the comments a year ago where he was looking to potentially get traded after being sent down. He didn't like being sent down, which okay, I get. You're a player, you're hyper competitive. You want to be, you've gotten a taste of the NHL. You think that you can do it. In fact, I would have had a problem with it if he said, "Yeah, I'm okay with being sent down."
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that he wanted to fight and for himself. Like, if you're a player, like you need to have that mentality. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Right.
But at
Exactly.
the same time, like this seems like a song and dance that just seems destined to fail. Like it just does not seem like a good marriage between the two sides. And maybe both are to blame. I don't want to point fingers at one or the other at the moment, but you can't give them away, but you're not getting the deal that you want out there. Because if I'm in charge, you're not giving away Nemec for anything less than a first and a prospect.
Yeah, exactly. And you better be getting, like, for instance, I'll say this. Let's take a look at this for a minute. Say you went into Quinn Hughes deal. That's the type of deal you give away Simone Nemec and you trade him in, right? Like something like that. Like to me,
and by all accounts, he was included in that.
Yeah, by all accounts, he was included in that. Like I know Nashville's looked at him. Like Nashville wanted him in deals, right? So, but you need an impact type forward. But again, number 2 overall pick. It's a crowded blue line, crowded on the right side. We know what he can do in a bigger role. We've seen him be a number 1 defenseman. It just feels like everything has to come to an end. Maybe it's just because, and again, this is my opinion here. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that probably the Devils guy went to Montreal at that draft, and then they didn't know what to do after, and there was no contingency plan, and there was no backup plan. It's like, okay, well, we got to go to defenseman because that's what we got to do. That's what it just feels like. That's just me. Again, Nemec was highly touted along with Slafkovsky that year, but I think Montreal taking Slafkovsky number 1 really threw a monkey wrench in that draft.
Slafkovsky going number 1 overall threw a monkey wrench in a lot of people's drafts that year. I mean, I was there, and when they announced, Slafkovsky to Montreal number 1 overall, there were Montreal fans there booing because they were expecting to take Shane Wright.
Right.
Now, it looks like that was probably the right move in hindsight. Looking back, like Shane Wright has not distinguished himself, and Slafkovsky is the better player right now.
Yeah.
But like, there were Montreal fans legitimately booing their franchise.
Yeah.
For that move. So that just threw a monkey wrench in the whole top of the draft.
Absolutely,
yeah,
100%.
And Jim, I want to make sure that we announce this. At any moment now, we're going to be joined by the first of our 2 guests, Alan Trader of the Associated Press, formerly New York Times, number of other publications throughout his distinguished career. He's going to be hopping on any moment to talk trade deadline with us and give his expert opinion on everything that's going down. So, yeah, everyone just make sure to look out for that. And we'll be here up until probably about, 3:30?
Yeah, 2:30-ish, yeah.
Yeah, on the Blue Line Blast podcast, breaking down all the news as it comes about for the trade deadline. Because, again, as Jim, as you mentioned, 3 o'clock is the deadline, 10 minutes away. But as long as the trade is in the queue, in the league registry, it doesn't have to be announced by 3. It can be announced after.
Right, exactly. You got the joke is get those trades in that fax machine by 2:59, because once it's there, once it's in at 2:59, you're good. At 3 o'clock, it's no good. So you gotta get your trades in.
It's amazing that you still said fax machine because the league does indeed still use the fax machine.
I'm just saying it's a joke, but it is. Look, I gotta ask you a question about this. We had our episode on Monday, but then day after, what are your thoughts on Mackenzie Weegar going to Utah?
I mean, that was a pretty big haul. I mean, Ali Mata, a prospect, and
3
and three
seconds.
second
3
rounders.
seconds.
I mean, that's a damn big haul.
Right. So I mean, I think that's a solid. I think that's a solid acquisition for Utah. Solid defense core for them. They had to make a splash. Billy Armstrong wanted to do it, and I like the move for them. Calgary rebuilding, right? And again, we wait on Nazem Kadri, Blake Coleman, Ryan Lombergs, guys like that. Again, Zach Whitecloud, if they do anything there, it's just. And then last night we mentioned Carlson that going to Anaheim, Connor Garland going to Columbus too. Like Boston was looking in on him, Washington was looking in on him, San Jose was looking in on him, and he gets moved to Columbus Blue Jackets, who are 1 point out of the playoffs. I like that move for Columbus.
Yeah, look, Columbus is, as you said, what, they're 2 points out of the playoffs right now?
He's 1 point now behind Boston.
Yeah, 1 point behind. I mean, they've gotten hot right now, and I think it'd be a great story if Columbus was able to make the playoffs. I know a lot of people were pulling for them last year after the passing of Johnny Gaudreau. To see Columbus back in the playoffs this year would really be just a nice side story. I don't expect Columbus would make any noise in the playoffs whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree with that. We got our guest.
Yep.
In studio here live on the podcast.
Yeah, Alan Trade of the Associated Press. Alan, welcome to our special Trade Deadline edition of the Blue Line Blast podcast.
Thank you very much. My background's not that exciting, but it's I'm looking at the big screen, so it's all in front of me.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, all good. So, Alan, to get us started here, I mean, the three local teams, I mean, I guess the biggest news, the Islanders are first to third and a prospect for Braden Schenn. What's your thoughts?
Very interesting. I mean, you can't argue with adding a bona fide center of that stature, cup winner, captain. It's a very appropriate move because you can't have too much strength down the middle in the playoffs, as we know, year over year. I'm a little surprised he was available, and Islanders not giving up bona fide player either. So there you have it. Trading picks for a talent of that level, it seems like something of a steal.
Do you think he slots in on the second line? How do you think they operate? Because I know like they've seen Barzal on a wing and stuff like that. Like feels like he could slot maybe top two lines.
Gives him flexibility, right? You can have Barzal center wing, both. Sure, depth. I mean, top three with Horvat and now Schenn and Barzal and Casey Cizikas when you need him. I mean, that's a dynamic center quartet.
Plus Pajot's there too.
Yes. Depth is key in the playoffs. One twist of a knee and things happen. The veteran presence, that's a huge help. It's a very slick move for Matthew Darche. He's doing a lot of things right this season. This is another example of that.
Right, and staying on Braden Schenn for a minute, I mean, the Islanders, they obviously, as you mentioned, they need the strong depth down the middle. And Schenn's winning faceoffs at a career-high rate. I believe it's a little over 54% so far this year. Come playoff time, when every possession matters, that's got to be key for them because it can also allow them to, I don't want to say a nuclear option, but it allows them to maybe stack a line at times where maybe you put, three of your top guys together, Barzal, Horvat, whoever, in order to really, get control of the puck.
Mm-hmm. Well, those important moves, Al Arbour used to do it and put two centers on the ice and keep face-off moments. He'd have Brian Trottier and Butch Goring out there. That type of strategy. It's important. Look, it happened last night. Face-off was won. Puck was in the net. Less than a second left.
Yeah, that was it felt like it was less than half a second that puck was off the Horvat's stick and in the net.
That's sort of like physics-wise impossible, but it happened. So, yeah, power of winning a face-off clean, effectively, puck on the stick, boom, it's in the net. So, yeah, I can never speak ill of having too much depth at center.
Yeah, and as Stefan Rosner has pointed out on Twitter /X, JG Pajot is an unrestricted free agent. So, Schenn, he's got 2 years left on his 8-year deal. So, even if they don't re-sign Pajot, which I would have to think that they don't after the fact that they've been looking to move him for a number of years now.
Right.
I mean, that's not just a replacement. That's an upgrade.
Right. Right. It's a smart move. I mean, it slots right in. There's not a lot of drama there. Again, a captain, you know the kind of person he is. It seems like a plus every which way. I'm still surprised he's so available, but the Blues seem to be really cleaning house.
Yeah, they want to move out some guys. We've heard Thomas's name, Kyrou, Justin Falk, guys like that, Shen. Um, let's stay in the local area for a minute. Two teams, Matt and I were just talking about this. Two teams really haven't done much today. Maybe we'll see after the bell if the bell rings and they do anything. But New York Rangers, Vincent Trocheck, yeah, they moved out Sam Carrick. Yeah, you moved out Artemi Panarin and Carson Soucy. But the guy that has the most trade value is still on your team as of right now.
Right.
And that means what was the point of the letter?
Exactly. Right now, it's a whole lot of nothing. I mean, the Panarin being traded was a fait accompli. I mean, they weren't going to re-sign him apparently, so they had to acquire something. The rest, I don't know. I don't know what the point of the letter is vis-a-vis what's happening as of this 2:57 p.m. So far, I mean, they're going to play out the string. Where's the retool? Who's going where? When? The fans are wondering what's going on. But we'll see. In the 10-15 minutes, there could be a different story. But so far, a whole lot of nothing.
Right.
And sticking with the Rangers and this whole Trocheck mess, and Jim and I, we were addressing it. He's got 3 years left on his deal, under a $6 million cap hit, 32 years old, proven second line center, not a first line center, but proven second line center. His value is never going to be higher than it is now, because you would get him for 4 potential playoff pushes, this year plus 3 more.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, even if you try to trade him at the draft or after free agency, it's only 3.
Right.
So Chris Drury, he's stuck in between two places, as we were talking about. Either you trade him for less now and you have another underwhelming return, or you trade him in the summer for less than what you would have gotten now anyway. So
right.
Either way, it looks like he's screwed up yet again.
Right. That's pretty accurate. Curious move. I mean, we've been hearing the rumors for weeks. Minnesota this, Detroit that, but so far, usually these things will happen sooner than later. When it gets down to the deadline, I expect more of surprise moves than the expected moves. So if it hasn't happened by now, maybe something else is percolating entirely. But as we've seen with the Rangers, a lot of mysteries.
Yeah, it is a lot of mysteries, and let's touch on the Devils for a minute. Not a lot of movement there as of right now either.
Yeah.
You look at it, Simone Nemec, 22-year-old defenseman, second overall pick in 2022. If they were going to move him, they're going to move him for a younger forward, center, winger, whatever. Something that could help this team. And again, we were just talking about this one too. It's just like it feels like that there's been a mismanagement of this type of player, where he could have brought so much value to this team with the development of this team. And it feels like a change of scenery for both would probably be best at this point.
It would seem that too. Again, the Devils, a strange season, started out so promisingly. It looked like they were a sure thing, 2-3. It seemed like an Islander-Devils playoff series was plausible in November, and then Jack Hughes got hurt, and the team stopped scoring in the slump, and now it's, a few wins this week are nice, but they're so far behind. It's going to be an uphill battle, as we've seen, and now, you figure there'd be a couple of moves toward just some changes, but again, quiet, oddly quiet. That seems to be the watchword.
Yeah, and I mean, from everything that I'm hearing, and I don't know if you guys are hearing anything different or not, it does look like the Devils are done for the day. And if that's the case, I mean, does the possibility exist that the reason why they didn't do anything is because ownership didn't want to give the green light to Tom Fitzgerald, because there is a solid chance that he is no longer the general manager come this summer?
Could be. Also possible. Sure. I mean, it's been a disappointing year. They've been up and down. 1 year playoffs, 1 year no. It's been a pattern now for a while. So it's change necessary. I mean, coach has only been there a year, so it seems a bit quick hook. But I don't know. It's an odd construct, that's for sure. It's an odd construct. So, based on what's happened the last 3 months.
Yeah, very, very strange. We're talking about some moves that happened before the deadline. I think one of the biggest shockers, probably John Carlson going to Anaheim. Like, to me, I didn't see that coming. It felt like he was going to be a forever Capital, 17 years with the organization. And you see the media coming out of Washington right now, Alex Ovechkin and Tom Wilson, just very sad to see one of their brothers that they've played pretty much their whole careers with gone to the West Coast, and, kind of shocking move.
Very shocking. Yes, stunning. And the timing was stunning. 1:00 in the morning or something. It was bizarre. So, again, a lifetime player. You expect at that level, you figure he'll finish his career there. And I guess you can never quite figure out the motivation on something. I mean, the Ducks see something plausible, possible. They're in the hunt. It looks like a playoff spot for the first time in ages. So why not upgrade with that level of talent? Sure, but he's 36. He's still got some contract time if they decide to keep him. But they gave away a lot for basically a pure rental.
And I mean, Alan, with the Ducks, I mean, they are they signal that they're going for it this year. They're just with the Carlson move and with the moves that they've made. Is this team really ready to maybe not make a deep run, but is this team ready to be a playoff team?
Well, they have the coach. I mean, Joe Quenneville's been there, done that. Stanley Cup winner multiple times with the Blackhawks. I mean, he knows what it takes. So, I mean, the fans are desperate for a winner in Anaheim. It's literally been forever. They won the Stanley Cup in 2007. So why not give this group the best chance? You never know what next year brings. They must see potential in kind of a Wild West there, and steal around, and you never know if they get some goaltending. They could be in it longer. Should be. They've added the Chris Kreiders, the Jacob Trubas. These guys know what it takes in the playoffs as well. So why not? I guess they can never. Their theory is never can have too many veterans for those young players that are up and coming. That'll be their first time in the playoffs. So you need some guidance, some help, some experience with them in the room.
Well, the bell sounded, and it appears that we have some trades coming in after the bell. Looks like Bobby McMahon to the Seattle Kraken.
Interesting. Seattle's hung in there and signed Jordan Eberle again today. It's they're Lane Lambert's trying to get them in the playoffs. There you have it.
I mean, the Pacific's so weak that they could get in.
Right. It changes daily. I mean, you could be 3 points out, 4 points out, and a couple of slides, and it goes the other way. So all it takes is a 4 or 5 game winning streak, and you have a playoff spot.
Yeah, definitely. So, going to be interesting to see what happens. Moving forward, if anything else comes in throughout the deadline. But here, thank Alan's given us some great insight here on the deadline so far. And Matt, anything else we need to add?
No, just for Devils fans, Tom Fitzgerald is going to be addressing the media in about 5 minutes via Zoom. So stay tuned for more reporting. Across the channels, whichever reporters you follow, including the three of us here, because it doesn't sound like there was much going on for the Devils today, but I guess we'll find out for sure in just a few minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So it's going to be interesting to see what else comes out of this afternoon. Like I said, Devils, let's see what answers come out, what actually is going on in that room, and, if he was allowed to do anything. So, but, kind of a slow deadline day. Very slow. I think the new cap rules and everything kind of really put a damper on everything.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's a handful of reasonable, mediumly big moves, but no blockbusters at all. It's been kind of bland, honestly, so far. But we still have some time to see what emerges in this post-deadline zone.
Well, as Barry Trotz said, told me about a month ago, when he came to the Devils with Nashville, he said he feels he was probably part of the last big free agent class because now teams, with the cap going up, teams are not going to, they're not going to let their players go so easily. They're going to be more inclined to sign guys, and obviously that's going to preclude other teams from swooping in, doing a Stamkos, a Marshall Salt, and a Shea, signing them away from their teams. it's possible now that the trade deadline can become something similar because teams can trade for guys at any point beforehand.
Right.
We've seen over the last couple of years, Quinn Hughes, Mikko Rantanen twice, JT Miller all traded January, February, not waiting for March.
Right. Yeah, that's become the new norm too. The trades way ahead of time, and deadline's sort of a creation, but not nearly the impact of past seasons where there'd be so much drama. So
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, gonna be interesting to see what else we got. But like Matt said, we gotta get ready for the Zoom conference and see what the Devils have to say. And Alan, thank you so much for joining us today
no
on
problem.
the edition of the Blue Line Blast podcast,
Okay.
NHL Trade Deadline edition.
You got it. We'll see what happens.
Take care. All right, guys, Blue Line Blast podcast. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today here up on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. Take care, and we'll be back for our episode on Monday.